All right, it is Monday, February 6th, 2023, 6 p.m. We'll call our meeting to order. Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, then, item number 3 is the roll call.
Simonson.
Yes.
Rickrell.
Yes.
Lyon.
Yes.
Hollister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Alinger. Holm.
Yes.
Next item is an approval of our agenda for this evening.
So moved.
Second. We got a motion by Hollister, seconded by Lyon. Any discussion? Then take the roll.
Rickrell.
Yes.
Lyon.
Yes.
Hollister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Holm.
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Item 5 is public participation. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to get up and address the council?
Mayor, 1 second.
Yes.
This gentleman that walked in, if you intend to speak to the council, this would be your opportunity to do it, unless there was a specific item you wanted to speak to later. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody out in Zoom land? Okay, then I guess we'll move on. Item 5 is our consent agenda, which is the minutes of the January 16th, 2023 regular city council meeting. Our bills payable through February 6th, 2023 in the amount of $87,172.08. A renewal of a Class E retail sales license filed by Casey's General Store, number 2578. Item D is a renewal of a Class C retail alcohol license filed by the Jackson County Fair Association. Item E is a renewal of a Class B retail alcohol license filed by Dollar General, number 2295. We have a mayoral proclamation for April 28th, 2023 as Arbor Day, and a resolution approving change order number 3 in the amount of $24,649 for the Innovate 120 project at 120 South Main Street.
That 24,000 is his expense?
That's correct.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Hollister,
Second.
seconded by Holm. Any discussion? Then take the roll.
Lyon.
Yes.
Hollister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Holm.
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Rickrell.
Yes.
Next we move to item 7, public hearings. Item A is a public hearing regarding the maximum property tax levies. Josh?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Before we begin, this agenda is larger than normal. I expect the next few to be large, and I think it's a product of almost every public project that we've had, either concluding or in financial closeout. We're just beginning. So there's a series of public hearings that we'll have in the future. Admire everyone for coming up here and leading the community into this next phase and expressing yourselves however you see fit. So this is all happening on top of a budget season, and that still needs to move forward, which is what this public hearing is about. And so as we've discussed, this is not a budget tax rate, this is not the tax rate, but this is something the state makes cities like Maquoketa label as the cap for maximum tax rate and tax rate levy. And so this acknowledges that levy cap. This is the public's opportunity to comment on this chart that I've included in the agenda.
Okay, is there anybody here who wants to get up and address the council regarding this matter? Anyone in Zoom land? Anybody on the council have any questions?
Move to close the public hearing.
We got a motion by Lyon to close. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Hollister. We have no discussion. Take the roll.
Hollister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Holm.
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Rickrell.
Yes.
Lyon.
Yes.
Okay. Now we move on to old business. Item A is an ordinance repealing Title III, Chapter 30, Section 1-6 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Maquoketa, and this is the second reading. Josh?
Thank you, Mayor. Just similar to the previous meeting, the next two items are related in that we're stripping the code of Section 3.0 is what this item proposes. This is due to the state action on ATVs and UTVs. The next session addresses those changes by simplifying the language, which mirrors what the state code requests and allows the council and the city to mirror what the state has in the future, and there will be no action required by the council. So this is the second reading. I'll take any questions on this. I haven't heard anything else from the public, but I don't know if you guys have as well.
I've heard nothing.
Me either.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Simonson, seconded by Rickrell. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes, I make a motion to suspend the rules and move on to the third reading.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Colister, seconded by Simonson to suspend the rules and move to the third reading. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Motion to move to the third reading.
Okay, we have a motion by Colister to move to the third reading,
Second.
seconded by Simonson. If there's no discussion, take the roll.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item B is an ordinance amending Title III, Chapter 3H, Subsection 11 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Maquoketa, Iowa, to comply with the state of Iowa's all-terrain vehicles and off-road utility vehicle requirements. And this is the second reading.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Colister,
Second.
seconded by Holm. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rules and go to the third reading.
Motion by Colister to suspend the rules,
Second.
seconded by Lyon. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Motion for the third reading.
Motion
Second.
by Colister, seconded by Lyon to go to the third reading. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Colister,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We move on to item 9, which is new business. And A is a resolution approving the 23-24 maximum property tax levies. Josh?
Thank you, Mayor. This just acknowledges the chart that we've shown you that shows the maximum rate and then maximum levy less debt service. So this does nothing other than approve the tax cap. No further comment.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Simonson,
Second.
seconded by Rickrell. Any discussion? And take the roll.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item B is a resolution regarding the collection of payment for city costs to abate nuisances and enforce the ordinances.
So moved.
Okay, a motion by Colister,
Second.
seconded by Simonson. If we have no discussion, then take the roll.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item C is a resolution approving an engagement letter with Shuttleworth and Ingersoll.
Thank you, Mayor. This one comes at the recommendation of Lynch Dallas partner Pat O'Connell, related to the ongoing issues at the Clinton Engines Museum site. They recommend going to an environmental specialist firm in legal services, so that's what this represents. We'll be better suited and better served by going this route with this attorney firm, and that comes from Lynch Dallas partner.
Okay,
I didn't see that whole thing. Does this stay at their rate? Or
No,
is
it does not.
No.
Good try.
I know, I didn't see it on my phone.
anybody have any questions or?
What was
Motion?
the difference?
Partner rate for Shuttleworth was $425 an hour. Lynch Dallas partner rate was just a little under half of that. It is an extra cost, but the service is, in my opinion, it comes from a trusted recommendation. And we get to tell them to proceed or not proceed along the way here as well. So that part's within your control. To continue to cease, to do an alternative order of some sort. I can tell you that, we'll continue to be tight with how we respond to things, but, you know, at the very least, we need to be disclosing to you that, yes, they are more expensive unless you're down at the associate level, which I'm sure if we want to request that, we can.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Lyon? Okay, Lyon made a motion to approve, seconded by Rickrell,
I just want to make sure that we're on,
by Simonson. Sorry about that.
Corey moved, Lyon second.
that we're on top of, that these $400 attorneys aren't doing associate work.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item D is a resolution approving an engagement letter with Schultes White PLC.
This is somewhat related to the previous item, but the question has come up whether or not our property and liability insurance should be able to cover us for continuous coverage of the Clinton Engine site property. This could be a very, very short engagement, but nonetheless, it's one that could be needed here if it's a continued challenge. We're seeking to go with an insurance specialist, similar to the previous situation. The problem here is that EMC employs both of our city attorneys in litigation circumstances, so we have to have someone that doesn't have a conflict of interest involved here. So if you give me a moment, I can look up the rates for that, but otherwise I have to dig into the council packet for a minute to find those.
Might as well.
I'm writing in here.
You have the packet handy, Dewey?
I've got it right here. I'm looking.
Why don't we do that? Schulteis.
On page 45, but I'm trying to find there. $3.60 an hour. So moved.
Okay, we got a motion by Colister,
Second.
seconded by Holm. If we have no discussion, take the roll.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item E is a resolution setting February 20th, 2023 at 6 PM as a public hearing date for the sale of property at the airport equaling 3.59 acres.
So moved.
Motion by Holm,
Second.
seconded by
Lyon.
Lyon.
What? This sale of this property is to gain money to do improvements to the airport?
Yes, so
Understand that
this,
correctly?
this will be earmarked for the airport capital fund because there's an extension of the runway issue that's in the pipeline. And if we do not do that runway extension, the FAA will claw back on 20 years of grant assurances. So without having to start in on property tax rate and where does it come from and some of these other related issues, this helps bridge the gap. And I'm a bit surprised the FAA was willing to let go of this lower triangle, but they are. And that will at least help mitigate some of that exposure.
Anybody else?
Have to keep the airport? Is there a reason why we put so much money into this thing? I've been by there 100 times. I've never seen an airplane out there.
So if you realistically, if you want to get rid of the airport, you make an improvement, and it sounds like the runway is largely the next step, but then you have to do nothing for 20 years. And so the problem here is that the previous councils have acquired land, we've done engineering, we've moved a gravel road at this point and seized land from a neighboring farmer in order to start down the path here. This isn't me recommending that we have to just do this. I've had some pretty extensive conversations about why it is or what's the business case behind this. And so you do the runway extension for 10% of the cost, which is still significant, or you end up paying back a very large amount of money. And it's not exactly fair to you unless you see the value in the airport, which I know that sometimes is a challenge, but those grant assurances are extremely strong.
Does the city always own the corner or this 3.59 acres?
I don't believe so, no. I think it came as part of a condemnation in 2014, as
Correct.
part of moving the gravel road.
I don't have a problem with the money staying with the airport, but at the same time, if it came out of the general or something like that, I would kind of like to see where that money came from to purchase that. I know you want to bridge the gap, and I get that, but still, if it came out of the general, then it might not
Yeah.
sit right.
At the end of the day, though, it's gonna wind up probably going to the airport extension, whether it comes out of the general or out of the airport fund.
Plus several $100,000, probably more out
Oh,
of the
yeah.
general fund.
It's just a-
But still, at the
Small bite.
same time, I don't want to just hand over $40,000, $50,000, whatever it is, and then it's used at something else. If it does go to their CIP, then it's earmarked for that and it stays in that then. But I still would like to know where it came from.
This is just to set the public hearing. Do we have a motion already or not?
Yep.
we do. Yeah. Okay, we have discussion, then take the roll.
I don't have a
Oh, you
motion.
want
I
a
thought you had
motion?
home.
So moved. Second if Holm motioned.
Home motion?
I did,
Okay.
didn't I?
All right, Colister, no.
Do you have Holm and Lyon? I thought that's who I wrote down a second ago.
That's what it was.
Yeah, but
Oh, no, I have Holman Colister.
Whatever.
That's what
Doesn't
I heard.
matter.
Say it again. You
ready
put-
for the roll now.
So moved.
Say it again.
Oh, second, whatever.
There we go.
Ready?
Go.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Rick Earl.
No.
Okay, motion passes. Item F is a resolution setting a public hearing regarding application for state revolving funds, SRF loan, and make available contents of environmental information documents. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe I should defer this over to Kevin Graves with WHKS, who's with us tonight, related to the next item. And this is the last step for SRF financing. They require an environmental review. Piece of that is a public hearing, which we're setting for March 20th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Colister, seconded by Lyon. Any discussion? Take the roll.
Colister,
Yes.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Rick Earl.
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Item G is a resolution awarding a bid in the amount of $16,280,000 submitted by Tricon Construction Group for the wastewater treatment plant. Josh, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for showing up tonight. So I guess the best I can give here is that, when I first started in January, it was an $11 million job, and that was kind of a yeah, right figure. And I certainly thought we were good at 15 and calling it 15 for most of the year, and that number continued to be chased down by some engineers' estimates, and we were hopeful, and as you can see from the reading, some fears have been realized. And so, that concludes really, I think, a lot of the bad news behind this, and I do want to make sure that we stay positive and that you could have a facility built 10 years ago and then have this mandate and then have to redo some things. In this case, you have a very aged facility that needs work, and also now you have a mandate, so we're hitting both of those needs, and I think that should be remembered. You also have a rate that's locked in at the SRF that's at 2%. You can't get that today. And so that's going to be forwarded into our next loan here and then repayable off 30 years. And so while it's not easy to look at this big of a project, it is important to remember that those two parts are fixed for you, known, and they're built into the payback when every single time that someone pays their utility bill. I'm not going to sit here and lie that this wasn't a gut punch. I hope for a $13 or $14 million bid. Didn't happen. I'm sorry, we're going to have to take some action to address it. But at the very least, I'm thankful that we got $4.1 million in grants coming into this project. Now, the next item, and like I said before, when WHCAS was here before, we've asked the bidders to sit there and itemize what it is that they're going to propose a purchase price on. And WHKS and Jeff have been working extremely hard to sit there and try to cut out any fluff. If it exists, is it absolutely required for the project? And that next item helps address some of that. right now, I think I'd probably open it up for some discussion for you and invite Kevin to the podium and try to tease out any sort of concern that we might have that's continued on this item.
Now, what are the actual odds this is gonna come in on budget, which is 0? So really, what are we looking at for a total project? I mean, we just saw this thing inflate by 35% on Platt Street. So a $16.2 million project to me looks like 18. I mean, in reality, the way things are, I mean, are we close?
Sure, and I can help address that. And again, Kevin Graves with WHKS Engineers. I think Bill Angerman, when he was here at a previous meeting, fielded a similar question. And in our response is, there will be unforeseen things that happen. There's no question as you're digging up a hole in the ground and laying pipe, that there's going to be something that comes up that we just don't know exists yet. So we do recommend there to be some sort of a contingency fund available as part of your financing package to address those items. What we've suggested is in the neighborhood of, I think Bill's response was in the neighborhood of 3 to 5% is a good number to have on hand. And I believe, looking at the information that Josh has put together, he's estimating that at 6% currently, kind of hedging the over a little bit. So that number is in the neighborhood of $975,000 is what's currently being planned. We feel confident in the numbers that we have gotten from contractors. One of the things that we noticed at bid date, although there were only 2 bidders, both bids were $19,000 apart on a $16 million project. That makes us feel confident that they were looking at the plans, seeing the same thing, and had limited unknowns in their bids as they were putting that together. So
Incredible to be that close.
yeah, we were. It was pretty striking to see that tight of a difference between the 2 bids. Yep.
Anybody else have any questions?
What's their name? You were screwed, like.
Yeah.
Do you have any other words of encouragement?
Let me ask, Jeff, do you have any horror stories about why this new plant's needed down over, I mean, from our weekly reports over the last year, I think every once in a while you sent me something of a crisis message every once in a while.
Crisis is usually the correct word. Where do we even begin? The stormwater pumps currently are out of service, and we've had the entire stormwater basin drain back into the plant because the valves have failed. Pumps, don't get me started on pumps. Most of them are pushing 20 years old. We've done good to keep them going as long as we have. It just needs a good going through. Everything's usually when you plan for a wastewater plant, they say 20 years. We're at 21.
And that's in terms of equipment, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And as far as the surprises and stuff, I've been there forever, and I've tried to bring up everything I could for the engineers to factor in. So about as
So
good
is
as
the
we can
shelf
get.
life, I mean, are we looking at 20 years on this one?
So
That's to me $1 million a year to operate.
that's a fair point, and the DNR, they're the ones, sorry, SRF does this. They put forth the analysis into the equipment lifespan if they're gonna award us a 30-year repayback, and that's only possible because of our economic status, so I'm just being honest about that. 31.66 or something extremely close was the expected life of the equipment
Yep.
on that letter, I think, off the top of my head, so.
Correct.
Yes, I hope it's 31 years, but that's what they're telling us.
Yeah, our rule of thumbs are 20 years for equipment, a lot of the mechanical things that have moving parts. But we say typically 50 years for concrete structures and things that are a little, more permanent. And there is a significant chunk of the project that is the new BIOP basin, large concrete structure, a lot of concrete and reinforcing steel, along with some pretty significant foundation work for both that structure and another, a digester structure that will be built/renovated. So there is a good chunk of that we do expect to last longer than 20 years.
So moved.
We have a motion by
Second.
Lyon, seconded by Rickroll. We have no more discussion, take the roll.
Coolman,
Yes.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson,
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. All right, thank you. Move on to item H, which is a resolution approving change order number 1, decrease in the amount of $763,613 submitted by Tricon Construction Group for the wastewater treatment project. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. And Kevin, I'll actually, if you want, you can take the lead on this reduction change order and start, kind of, probably the day after we received these bids and the mayor was with me and, hey, Kevin, why don't you stay online here for a second? Our very first conversation is where we're going to end up in a proposal. And that's what this item addresses. And there's more to come. We just don't know exactly what that will be yet and what level of significance. So I'll let Kevin kind of introduce what's being removed here and why it's smart to do so.
Thank you, Josh. So the change order that we're recommending has 3 pieces to it, two pretty significant pieces from a dollar perspective and one slightly lower dollar amount, but still worthy of inclusion for cost savings. So the 2 we'll call big ticket items included in change order number 1 would be eliminating the aluminum dome covers for the final clarifiers. Those are currently concrete structures that are uncovered. We were proposing to include aluminum domes for those 2 structures, along with a kind of a cover for the vestibule area in between the 2 of them for a couple reasons. One being to help minimize algae growth as the water makes its way from the final clarifiers to the new ultraviolet disinfection treatment process. And then the second one was temperature control and kind of ease of operation, a little bit more treatment efficiency. Not an absolute requirement, but something that we had initially recommended be done for the operation of the system. So that was a number of eliminating the covers and the installation of those covers, along with some of the associated electrical work that was going to be done. A total of $453,940. Significant enough cost for where we are at that we said, let's remove that from the project and cut that down. It was one of the few items that we considered to be kind of in the want category as opposed to the absolute need category. The second item is the sludge thickener equipment. The treatment plant currently has 2 concrete structures that were established for sludge thickening. The equipment inside of those structures is very old and in need of renovation, replacement, kind of gutted out and put in new equipment and redo the interior concrete of those. So this particular item is, as we're looking at the overall scope of the project, we would like to see 2 of those in there, but we recognize that the city has been operating with one piece of equipment for a period of time. It's been working, and that the expected sludge production is such that we feel it can be run adequately with just that one piece of equipment. And the second key piece of that is the sludge thickening is one item that is that the DNR does not require redundancy for. A lot of the equipment out there, the clarifiers, the aeration basins, the DNR says you have to have 2 working trains of that, so that if one goes down, you can still make treatment, make your limits with those. The sludge thickening is something that they do not require that redundancy for. So we saw the opportunity to install one of those mechanisms and remove some cost by leaving that other concrete structure empty, not necessarily, basically leaving it available in the future if you decide to add that second thickener mechanism, but it's a way to reduce some cost at the current time frame. The third item is the UV disinfection building that will be going next to the new UV channel. We had, as proposed, a precast concrete structure for that building. The contractor reached out to us as we were working through what items could we modify in our project to reduce cost, and they talked about potentially putting in a masonry block building that would be cost savings as opposed to the precast concrete. The numbers that came back on bid day were pretty high for that building. So they proposed a cost savings of $21,487 for that item. And I failed to mention that for the sludge thickener equipment, going from 2 to 1 of those items, it would result in a total of $288,186 of cost savings. So tallying up those three items, we're looking at $763,613 that we can lop off the top, if you will, from the project to reduce it down to about $15.5 million for construction cost. And that being said, we also have several things that we're continuing to talk to the contractor about, specifically some of the foundation materials that will be going under both the BioP basin and the digester. Trying to brainstorm ways that we can do that in a more cost-effective way while still giving it the structural integrity that it needs. We're not able to give you specific costs on that today just because the actual soil conditions are going to dictate some of what that needs to be. What we can tell you is we're going to continue to explore those, have that dialogue with the contractor, and make sure we're trying to get the most efficient cost for those foundations for you guys.
Do these reductions lessen the overall length of the equipment? So like removing these covers, does it make the crap work harder so that we'll be changing a pump 3 years sooner, 5 years sooner than if we put this crap, I just don't, I'm fine. I love taking money back, but I just want to make sure they aren't going to cost us in the long run.
Gotcha. No, good question. There are a few pieces of equipment in between the two clarifiers that Jeff has indicated. They've had some freezing issues in the past. It makes it a little bit tougher from a maintenance perspective for the staff. There aren't any pumps per se in that area. Those would be kind of in a separate wet well structure that is covered. So nothing of significance, I'll say.
So on the sludge thing, we have two, but we're only using one because one's been down or broken. I mean, what happens if this one goes down and you don't have the second one? Can we still process, or does it stop?
So the short version is yes, you can still process your sludge. The thickener, it effectively takes the sludge that's coming off the clarifiers and creates a thicker, more more solids within your sludge. There's less liquid that's in there, so it helps the capacity of your next few processes, the digester and your sludge storage tank. So the impact of eliminating that long term is that you have a lot more sludge that has to go through the digestion process and then into your sludge storage lagoon, meaning you're going to have to take that out at a higher frequency. So can it be done? Yes. Will it be more expensive in the long run for disposing of that sludge? Yeah. So that's why we recommend still thickening.
Can the operating thickener be put aside and used as a backup? Will that fit in your design? The sludge thickener? You say that we have one that's working now. Can we just keep that one and just put the new one in there and use the one that's operating now as a backup?
That is something that we should kind of discuss more in detail with both both Jeff, the operators and the contractor moving forward. But I think that is a potential possibility, yep.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Colister,
Second.
seconded by Holm. If we have no more discussion, take the roll.
Holm,
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. We move on to item I, which is a resolution determining the necessity and fixing a date for a public hearing on the matter of the adoption of our proposed 2023 citywide urban revitalization plan.
Thank you, Mayor. This is step 2 of adopting our urban revitalization plan, and it sets a public hearing for April 3rd. And that's required, and we will send that out in the most efficient way possible by way of a utility billing mailing notice on February 24th. And you should all be pleased to know we've received 2 or 3 phone calls in City Hall asking how this works. I have taken so many kind of inquiries and questions on when those calls come in about some of the misconceptions. We got an email out to staff about what this is, and just need to be clear in that last paragraph I included in this agenda really kind of describes that this doesn't mean cash coming to someone, but it's a downstream tax benefit of improving property in short form. So typically that will follow about 18 months after this is approved overall, but otherwise this is the next step in adopting this property improvement program. So this is something you should approve.
So moved.
Okay, a motion by Lyon,
Seconded.
seconded by Rickrell. We have no more discussion, take the roll.
Simonson.
Yes.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Holm.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item J is a discussion and possible motion to approve the purchase of a 2023 Ford Explorer and uplift for the vehicle in the amount of $58,542.12.
So moved.
Motion by Colister,
Second.
seconded by Holm. Any discussion? Take the roll.
Rick Earl,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Holm.
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Item K is a discussion and possible motion approving emergency services payment in the amount of $18,943.04 to Chig Fry Excavating for the Vermont Quarry Sewer repair.
Thank you, Mayor. I called out an emergency expense related to a sewer pipe failure on Friday, December 16th, and pursuant to our emergency purchase notifications here, I'm calling it out on the agenda as a bills payable. We now have adequate backup from Chig Fry Excavating that's detailed enough to show why they billed us for $18,943. Every year, we budget money for manhole replacement, which this is, and to preserve the emergency response line of Jeff's operating budget, we recommend this go against the city's CIP for manholes, of which that balance is $22,161 right now. So it seems to be the most intelligent placement of this bill. I recommend your approval.
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion by Rickrell,
Second.
seconded by Coolman. If we have no more discussion, take the roll.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Holm.
Yes.
Simonson.
Yes.
Rick Earl.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. We made it to item 10, reports and communications. Do we have anything from any of the council members? Okay, if not, city manager?
Other than those University of Iowa programs moving along quickly, efficiently, excitingly, if that's the right word, we're all pleased here that that's moving along.
Okay, very good. We have no executive session, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Colister, seconded by Coolman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.